Huples cat. One of my guilty pleasures is to watch the anti-flat earth videos because I find them hilarious. Although it's easy to snipe at people when they have sincerely held beliefs that really are crazy. But I finally had it up to here with people online doing COVID-19 videos from places of profound ignorance and fear. And I'm done with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to once a week, whilst this continues, I'm going to do a Huples cat rips apart your COVID-19 video. Because let's face it, people, truth is important in an SHTF. Accurate information and knowledge is important in an SHTF. And quite frankly, on the 11th of February 2020, this is the beginning of an actual global SHTF pandemic. It really is the beginning of it. It might fizzle out and die, it might not. You need accurate information. You don't need people selling you stuff. Well, without further ado, I'll put the first one up. I'm not naming the bad people, nor am I linking the bad people, but I will also put up excerpts from sites that I think you actually should subscribe to at this time. Okay, so this is my subs. I put out a must watch and share my coronavirus thing. So when I click on it, what I get is a delay because I have cheap internet, and you get the usual stuff channels that are fairly large do, which is the try and sell you stuff and get you to subscribe and all the rest of it. In of itself, I don't really have a problem with that.
So, for those of you out there worried about this coronavirus, this may be the most important video you watch on the topic.
That's a hard sell.
How I plan to treat highly transmissible respiratory pathogens.
Okay, and your qualifications for this are what?
Did make them my way, and the research I've done to come to this conclusion.
Research is done by scientists. What you've done is you've looked at websites.
First, to get an idea of the severity of this, it's not really that fatal. It's not really that different from what usually goes on. Okay.
Yes, it is. Influenza kills about 0.1% of the people it infects. This appears to kill between 2 and 4% of all the people it infects. In fact, it's actually worse than that, and I'm going to get into that in a video. But boy, people have got to be careful about what they're saying online about stuff they don't know.
The, let's say the common flu, H3N2, mortality rate, has a mortality rate of...
Now here's a clue.
About 1%. It killed 80,000 Americans the last flu season.
Alright, who cares about Americans? So enough of this video. I'm actually not going to watch the rest of the video. I just wanted to click on and see what people are putting out there. But I think the really fun thing for this is what he's basically pushing is silver, colloidal silver. It's a good idea to use bleach. If you want to put ionic colloidal silver on hard surface to kill stuff off, you totally don't need to. It's expensive and pointless. Use bleach. However, let's click on these links. University of Arizona study. Oh, okay. Yeah, it isn't. It's a silver place that's selling silver, pushing silver, and quoting a research indirectly. So his research is indirect right there. And he's also using another silver search site. He's also getting his stuff from a website that doesn't have a very large server. You know, all of this stuff's reassuring, right? Blah blah blah. They actually have it here. There's a lot of research out there that shows specifically that hand washing and using bleach is probably the best thing you can do. Why you need to go to colloidal silver, I don't know. Yeah, antiviral properties of silver and copper, blah blah blah, different strengths. You can buy it, that's good. Anyway, I appreciate your video, and I don't want to pick on your video. It's actually not one of the worst ones by any means. There's people out there who are just nuts. But honestly, why would people want to push a product and make money off it at the beginning of an SHTF that's global and temporary in nature, which this very much is? It's time people actually look at things beyond it. This is not, absolutely not, going to save your life. Colloidal silver will not do anything to stop you getting the flu. If you have high amounts of metallic active minerals like copper and silver in contact with viruses, it deactivates them. This has been known for years. The application of this for you, going to work, driving your car, hopefully not going through a McDonald's drive-through, in a pandemic is pretty limited. So I'm not altogether sure this is the most important video I'll ever see. But anyway, hopefully you won't hate me for this, and I will actually obscure the name of the person that's doing it. But honestly, when you're out there and you don't know background, be very careful about looking at videos that are claiming stuff and then not actually going to direct scientific reports. If the World Health Organization thinks that colloidal silver works effectively better than bleach, I would have colloidal silver in my hospital and I'd be using it. Make no mistake about that. Don't be going out there trying to find special secret things to use to do that hospitals, doctors, scientists aren't using. We're not using it because it doesn't work or it's too expensive and there's far better alternatives. Bradford Full Spectrum Survival gets a bit of welly online, and it's really not that fair. Yes, he has a mega channel. Yes, he pushes his Patreon to support what he's doing. And as far as I can tell, what he's doing is YouTube videos, and I might be wrong there. So he actually needs that income. And his cards are great. I don't have any right here, but he sends them to me frequently, and he sends them to people that can't always afford the $10 a month subscription. He's a good guy. I really like Kelly, and I like his kids. Don't have a problem with him selling me stuff. Generally speaking, his advice and what he's saying is about 97 to 98% Huples approved. There's that 1 to 2% where usually the clickbait title or something will make me go, but generally speaking, it's one of the sites that you need to look at. Don't be scared of him. I know he looks scary, but that's one of the sites that actually is getting consistent messaging out based consistently upon actual research and actual people you should be following in a situation like this. People like the World Health Organization and the CDC. Because honestly, conspiracy theorists, put that in your little box marked I'm insane and actually start using official government and intra-government sites that are actually there to provide people like nurses with the information we need to look after you when you're coughing your lungs out and are very, very upset.
The World Health Organization and leaders in disease research and virology across our planet are warning that the virus that is spreading like wildfire, pandemic that has closed down and quarantined hundreds of millions of people in China, has a 15% hospitalization rate, a 15% pneumonia rate. They're warning that if this strikes across the world, it's not necessarily going to be the case fatality rate that causes a collapse. It's going to be the overwhelming of the healthcare setting. And we've talked with other nurses and doctors. We've talked with nurses here on YouTube like Huples Cat, which I of course suggest that you go and watch those videos as he walks you through his hospital's protocols and readiness for this virus.
Well, thanks Brad, appreciate that. But I'm not in this for the subs, I'm not in this for the fame. I just want to do this because it's a hobby. So I do appreciate the shouts, but you really should warn people that I'm a social democratic vegan, amongst my other sins.
Each of the physicians that we've talked to, and we've looked at the CDC numbers, and we've looked at hospital bed numbers across our world, across North America in particular, we've seen that the sheer number of beds that are ready, the number of people who are ready to intubate individuals who are ill and need it, cannot match the spread of a disease like this.
Well, that's absolutely true. Modern technology is very complicated. Modern life support, modern nursing, modern medicine, modern respiratory therapy is extremely complicated and high input both by personnel who are trained and experienced and also by cash and availability. I don't know anybody who would think that everybody who requires ventilation in a mass pandemic would receive ventilation. They won't be. And that's just the way it is. I think what our society needs to start thinking about in the next few months is we are on a war footing. And the faster that healthcare systems and governments around the world go on the war footing with a single focus, doesn't matter about debt, doesn't matter about austerity, doesn't matter about universal healthcare, doesn't matter about anything. You've got to provide the minimum amount of care that you can do to save the maximum amount of people, and that's what's going to be different. It's not about providing the maximum amount of care to save an individual life anymore. It's going to be doing what you can for the majority of people, and that's going to be a major shock. And it's okay, because life will get back to normal. It really will. And we're not necessarily going to have an overwhelming crash of our healthcare systems right across the world, though with incubation periods and infectivity still known unknowns, we could. And I think that's the important message I'd like to point out. This could happen. It's highly probable. Start to get your act together. Start to take it seriously. Shave all your facial hair off now. Stop being arrogant and stupid, so you can pull out a mask and shove it on at any time and it will fit you depending on where you are and what's going on. To say I'll have plenty of time to shave my beard is absolutely stupid in a condition of a pandemic, and anybody with half a brain cell would know that. The other thing is as well, if you're still going to go to the gym, make sure that you are very much washing everything down before and after use, that you're not showering at the gym, and that you're not using a gym with other people in close proximity to you. All of those things are not smart precautions to prep for an ongoing pandemic that's in the local community. They're really not.
Today we're going to do a product review of the Mira Safety CM6M gas mask. $220.
And that's an attractive thing to do, spend $300 Canadian plus filters to get yourself a gas mask in a pandemic. A gas mask in a pandemic is not the thing to do. You'll also notice, because of the lack of training, there's actually skin exposed during this. And that's my major concern with a gas mask for a pandemic, is the fact that when you take it off, you actually can contaminate yourself very, very easily as compared to taking off an N95 correctly. Very, very little indication to use a gas mask for a pandemic, and a whole bunch of reasons why you probably shouldn't. However, it's a clickbait video. He actually says at the end a whole bunch of scenarios where the gas mask is useful, and I agree with him, but he never mentions pandemic. However, coronavirus is running rampant, so let's slap coronavirus on the title and let's make some money. Come on, guys and girls, stop trying to make money from a pandemic. Let's start doing our job. Our job is to educate, inform, and support.
You know, not being able to go to work, and I do work in a medical center, so that would probably create some sort of hassle. They would probably need all hands on deck, but you know, my family comes first when it comes to that. But to whatever extent, you know, I'm definitely more than willing to go and be involved, as long as you know, I had the proper PPE made available to me.
A couple of things with this one. It's a good video and it's a good site, but you really needed to have got your PPE in advance of a pandemic, specifically if you work in healthcare, policing, or the prison service. You probably should have had some equipment in depth in advance of a pandemic. Relying on your employer is not going to work too much. Being a young gaffer and quitting work, not going to work very well. In fact, in a lot of jurisdictions like Canada, Ontario, if I choose not to go to work, I will actually lose my registration as a registered nurse, and that will be the end of my career as a registered nurse. Now I'll have to be unemployed and have to find a new job. The other thing is, you may run foul of the police and the army. China has militarized parts of its healthcare system. I see no reason why the United States and Canada won't do the same if we're stressed as much as Wuhan City is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little occasional series. If you've got any good tips about outrageous, egregious videos out there, just send them to me. Mention them in the comments below. You can put links on. I would prefer it if you don't name and shame people. Obviously you'll know who some of these people are, and obviously they will know who they are. I'm not prepared to go into a dialogue with you on this, but I am prepared to have a reasonable adult discussion in the comments section about why it's okay to wear a beard, and why it's okay to buy a gas mask, and why it's okay to go to the gym. I'm not convinced. Maybe you can convince me. Doodles. Meow. This is a Good Cat production, 2020.